Welcome to Manchester for the Women's FA Cup semi-finals day. Manchester City will be looking to book their place at a Wembley final, just like the men's team have done. But today, they're up against a side who they're all too familiar with in this competition.
Kirby's in here for Chelsea. Could this be the first goal of the semi-final? It is!
Absolutely superb from Frankie.
She's all alone, has to do it by herself. Can she do it brilliantly by herself? Oh yes she can, oh yes she can.
Fantastic play from her.
Well, Fran Kirby, so influential last year, starts for Chelsea today ahead of this huge SSE Women's FA Cup semi-final at the home of Manchester City. In the other game, well, this one's gone to penalties. Reading against West Ham. This one is live on the red button. And we'll show you the first penalty. These are live pictures. Oh. And it is 1-1 there. We'll bring you coverage of all of that later on. But joining me here at the Academy Stadium, Rachel Brown-Finnis, Casey Stoney and Alex Scott. Ladies, concentrating on this game, obviously with all the drama going on over there. This is a game where, I mean, there's an enduring rivalry, isn't there, between Manchester City and Chelsea. Rachel, how much did Manchester City need to beat Chelsea in this competition? Because they've never done it.
No, they haven't, and they'll want to rectify that because, as you said, there's a long-standing rivalry, and this is one that they've never been able to topple Chelsea on. You know, Conti Cup has generally been Man City's, FA Cup's always been Chelsea's.
OK, in terms of mentality then, considering that Manchester City are at home today, do you think now is the time that they could do it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, records are there to be broken, aren't they? And they need to get rid of that hoodoo today. I think it's going to be very much a battle of the midfields today, and whoever comes out on top in that battle will win this game. OK,
as far as Chelsea are concerned, Alex, I suppose they've got other commitments in terms of the Champions League, but how badly do they want to secure this?
Well, I think Emma Hayes will know, especially at her time being with Arsenal and being in the domestic game now, how huge getting to Wembley, playing at Wembley in front of those crowds, the audience it attracts on TV. It has always been that showpiece event for women's football. So Emma Hayes will want to do everything to make sure she's there this year.
But for Manchester City, of course, I mean, with that, knowing that they have that in mind, this is, I mean, they've played each other. This is the fourth time they're playing each other. It's drawn twice in the Conti Cup. Will that be on their minds, do you think?
I don't think so. I think they'll kind of put all those games behind them. They've had a couple of weeks off, international break, etc. Both teams are regrouping. I don't think City, any team that they come up against here, know that they're in for a battle, and City know that here they generally have the upper hand against Chelsea. It's just they're not really facing them in the FA Cup here. So yes, there's history within the FA Cup and Chelsea, but there's also history, and historically City have had the upper hand here at home.
I mean, Casey, Rachel, you mentioned the regrouping. Of course, that international break, would that have any bearing on how the teams kind of prepare for this?
Well, yeah, it will do, because players have been away. It depends how many players you've had away, how far they've travelled, what they've come back in like, psychologically, whether they've won or lost those games they've competed in. So, you know, we'll have affected preparations. They haven't had, I think they would have probably had 2 days prep for this game. That's not a lot. But, you know, Man City come into this game having not been beaten in the league yet. They come into this game as the form side. So, you know, I think they'll be at home, they'll be confident, and it's probably going to take a little bit of individual magic today to win this game.
OK, well, Alex covered both of those international games, didn't you? So as we heard, their players away for 10 days or so over the international break, including the Manchester City duo Jill Scott and Kira Walsh. Today, though, they focus very much on the FA Cup. They've been catching up with Ailey Barber.
When it comes to FA Cup semi-final matchups, Manchester City against Chelsea has become a pretty regular fixture. This is the fourth time in the last 5 years the pair will face off for a place in the final. Chelsea hold a 100% record in those matches, but this season it's City who have the upper hand, having already dispatched of Emma Hayes' side on their way to Continental Cup glory. A repeat of that fixture and a domestic cup double is now in their sights.
I think we knew that was going to be us versus Chelsea, but obviously pleased that it was a home draw this time, because I think our fans really are that extra player when we step out onto the pitch.
When we play them, it's always a close game. We score, they score, we score. It's always quite quite a tight game.
It'll be the 4th meeting this season against Chelsea. 2 draws in the league, and then that one in the semi-final of Continental Cup.
Obviously that semi-final win was really important to us. People will be talking like this is the final of the FA Cup and whoever wins will go on to win it, but I think the way that the league is now, the likes of Reading, West Ham, all really tough games, so we've just got to think to this game, try and get past it, and then whoever there is there waiting in the final, it's going to be just as tough a game.
Chelsea are a top team, and they're going to be preparing the exact same way as us, and I think for us it's just about focusing on our game plan, not what they're doing too much. Hopefully we can get possession and then create some chances.
It's not only did you win the Continental Cup, the men won the Carabao Cup in the same weekend. What's it like to have been part of this one club mentality?
It was a great weekend for the club, and obviously we got to see the men and got a photo with the 2 trophies, and I think that's the pressure that we feel, that we're here to deliver trophies to this club, and that's our job.
You got prime seating as well, in between Raheem Sterling and David Silva.
I mean,
David
Silva's my favourite player, so I was pretty happy with that, to be fair. As a City fan, sometimes I still have to pinch myself, you know, that I am playing for the club that I've always supported, and Dad's a massive City fan, so yeah, it means a lot to all of my family.
Yeah, well, so much success here at the Academy Stadium and, of course, throughout the club as well. I suppose the Manchester City team picks itself, really. Rachel, Jill and Kira are starting. How influential could they be today?
Well, they're as influential as they possibly be as a trio for England in the summer. They've been their mainstay sort of central 3. Kira Walsh, that holding midfielder in front of the back 4, can spray a ball but can break up play as well. George Stanway's got great legs to be able to run, can shoot from distance. Jill Scott, we know what she can do backwards and forwards. A key player for Manchester City. Okay, and Alex, I mean, we saw Nikita Paris performing for England. Missed a few chances, but generally she is on form, and she is the form player, isn't she, for City?
She really is. Over the last couple of seasons, we've all seen Nikita Paris just really start to flourish and mature in her roles. And what I've been impressed with this season is her ability, not only her goal-scoring ability, but she's always looking to be on the defender's back shoulder, wanting to run into the spaces where defenders don't want to be pulled into those areas. And she's adding to her repertoire, different goals popping up in different areas. This is a great composed finish, a great first touch, and then before that, it's like she's getting in these areas and thinking about it. Instead of lashing out and just hitting things, she's actually trying to pick out areas. And yes, when Chelsea and City did play here before, yes, she did miss a couple of chances, but it's always how you react to that. And straight away, she wants the ball and she wants to get that goal.
Casey, where can City hurt Chelsea today?
I think in the midfield areas, I think City have got good legs in there. You know, Jill Scott's a runner, Georgia Stanway's a runner. Kira will dictate the play. If they don't get hold of Kira Walsh early doors and let her dictate the game, I think she can open them up, especially with Nikita Paris's pace in behind.
Okay, well, let's turn our attentions to Chelsea then. They beat Manchester City at this very stage last year, and then they went on to enjoy, well, pretty enjoyable day out at Wembley.
The FA Cup of 2018. Kirby back to the Swiss international. Chelsea lead.
Who else but those two linking up?
Oh, what a goal. Sensational from Ramona Bachmann. Kirby onto a left foot, plants it brilliantly. A goal fitting enough to win any FA Cup final.
Well, the champions again last year, and in front of that record crowd at Wembley, you must have such fond memories of this cup.
Yeah, I mean, just getting to the semi-finals are achievements in themselves. I think that's our 5th or 6th successive one. So it's a competition we've got experience in, but so do Manchester City. These are epic battles, and I suspect today will be the same.
I was going to say, you've played each other so many times in semi-finals. Is it just becoming another game, or has it still got the magic of the cup to it?
Yeah, I think both Nick and I know the draw doesn't even matter. We know we're going to face each other in the semis, so we're going to have to face a top team somewhere, be it in the final or this place. So just their turn this year to be at home. But nothing we don't already know.
And with team selection in mind, obviously you've got the Champions League semi-finals around the corner as well. How much does that play a part in who you select for your starting 11?
I never select for the following game. I always select for the opponent. I've got a fully fit squad to pick from. I think we've got a lot of top players playing well at the moment, and regardless of the team we put out, we've got strength in depth, both in the lineup and from the bench.
Thanks, Emma.
Thank you. Thanks.
Just quickly.
Okay, we've got some breaking news for you. This is the winning penalty from Joe in the other SSE Women's FA Cup semi-final. It means that West Ham are the team who will play whoever wins here at the Academy Stadium. What a huge day for them. This is a side, Rachel, that have come up 2 levels in the to go to their first WSL season, and now they've got a trip to Wembley. This is huge.
Oh, this is what dreams are made of, and this is why Matt Beard has assembled this squad from all over the world for their first season in the Women's Super League to get to Wembley, the iconic stadium, you know, one of the most iconic stadiums in the world. This will mean so much to not just the present of this club, but the future of this club.
Okay, we'll be talking about this later, Casey, but a little bit unfortunate, wasn't it, for Reading? Obviously, they missed a few chances there, didn't they?
There'll be a few players in their dressing room that will go home tonight and have some sleepless nights. You know, Farrah Williams doesn't often miss penalties. She's missed a penalty and she missed a really good chance one-on-one, and you know, they missed chances that really could have took them, you know, into that final. So they'll regret that, but no credit to West Ham. They've stayed in the game, and obviously they've done the job on penalties. So you know, it should be an exciting final, whoever gets there.
Yeah, drama all the way. Rachel, I've got to ask you about the Chelsea team. Anne-Katrin Berger starts in goal. Goalies has been a bit of a theme, hasn't it, for this team and also for Manchester City?
They signed her in January. I think looking ahead to the Champions League, she played in the Champions League game, had a bit of, you know, looked a bit rusty, which she is going to be because she's not playing any first team football. She's starting today. I do think she is their best goalkeeper, Chelsea's best goalkeeper. And again, for Man City, Cara Barnes and Ellie Roebuck have flip-flopped a lot this season. It's interesting to see. I believe both teams have gone with their strongest goalkeepers, biggest presences.
Okay, Alex, you predicted England-Spain would finish 2-1. What is your crystal ball telling us today?
Pressure is now on. I am actually I'm going to go for City, and I'm actually going to go 2-1 again. But not the England score. City are going to win 2-1 today.
Okay, we'll see how this one pans out. Let's hand you over to our commentary team then. They are Sue Smith, who's alongside Jonathan Pearce.
Thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for choosing to be with us this afternoon. It's a bitterly cold, windy afternoon in Manchester. City winners of the FA Cup in 2017, Chelsea in 2015 again last year. The two clubs who've dominated English women's football in the last 4 years, of course. Manchester City believe home advantage will count as they look for revenge for last season's semi-final defeat. They beat Chelsea in the Continental Cup semi earlier this season here. They think that is a major confidence booster as well, but Chelsea have never lost to them in the FA Cup, as we've been hearing, and they showed their resilience on this ground, coming back from 2 down to draw 2-2 here days after that League Cup defeat. They're through to the Champions League semi-final, but Manchester City have not lost a domestic game in 11 months. Form guide tends to go out of the window for Cup semi-finals as well. City boosted by the news that Steph Houghton is fit after pulling out of the England-Spain game with a groin problem. 3 changes from the league win at Liverpool. Parsley back in goal, as we've heard. It's their 3rd appearance in their 4 FA Cup ties. Stanway, who scored 2 at Liverpool in the last round, and Tessa Woolert, a cup winner in Belgium and Germany. They come in. Now, as far as Chelsea are concerned, only Mjelde, Bright, Eriksson, Spence, Cuthbert and Rackman keep their places in the side. Backman keep their places in the side after that disappointing league draw with West Ham. Possibly they got the Champions League game at Lyon in mind. Kirby, who also had to withdraw from the England camp, she partners Backman in attack. Both scored in last season's final. Berger was in goal for Birmingham in the 2017 final when City beat her team. Mjelde starting at right back, but they may change to a 3. Of course, they occupied that last season at this stage. So
yeah, and that's what Chelsea can do. You know, they've got the ability to change, to rotate. They've got such a big squad, a depth of players, and that's what Emma Hayes needs when she's fighting in the Champions League, she's fighting in the FA Cup. Really disappointed, I think, that they're not fighting for the league now, but I think this is a real opportunity for a lot of those players.
A little bit surprised there's no Chi in the side, there's no England in the side.
Well, I think Bethany England's had a fantastic season. I think she's their top goal scorer, isn't she? And she's really worked her way into the team. And I think something for Emma Hayes is the fact that if things aren't going to plan, she can bring her on and she can change the game. And again, G, just top quality, so technically gifted, can make things happen. And she's another player. So they have got that squad and that strength in depth that if they do need to change things, they can, as do Manchester City.
2 vastly experienced England international teammates captain their sides. Karen Carney, 138 appearances for her country. Steph Houghton, 104. And it will be Manchester City in the sky blue and white who will kick us off and underway when we hear the first whistle from Rebecca Welsh, the referee. Kicking from left to right then. An enthusiastic, if small crowd, it has to be said, but Manchester City, of course, the men's team, are also playing today. And off we go and underway. And the ball played back to Dummy Stokes and into Jen Beattie. And an early feel of the ball for Karen Bardsley. And Steph Houghton sensibly withdrew from the England camp so that she could prepare for this. I think both the club and country got together with the player and would have made that decision. Eminently sensible, really.
Yeah, I think that's what Phil Neville's really good at. He looks after his players and works with the managers of the clubs and decides what is best for them. He wants them fit for the World Cup. He wants them to play in big games like this.
Very exciting front two. You'll be looking at Fran Kirby's performance, of course, but up front with Backman. Really exciting pairing. I think Emma doesn't normally play those two together. It's a free kick here for Chelsea.
No, which is strange because they link up so well. They seem to have a real understanding. We've seen that in the cup final, didn't we? How well they work, they interchange positions, they got pace, they can dribble, take on players, and they can just win a game on their own.
Free kick here for Chelsea. And Karen Carney will take it then. Just over a minute into the game. Manchester City with all 11 behind the ball. Spence was in there. It's nearly come all the way through to her. Just flipped it away. She's celebrating 10 years in the Chelsea first team squad or around it. Drew Spence, an unsung hero, I think, in this side.
She really is, not with her teammates respect what she brings to the team, but every time we watch her play, we're always praising her, aren't we, saying again technically how good she is, how her work rate, her effort, her endeavour, and it's a player that you want to play alongside.
We played a fair bit with brother Lewis, who was at Palace for a while, and Wickham and Forest Green. I think his last club was Hornchurch. I don't know whether he's still there. There's Anderson. He's got that fantastic goal in the competition in the game against Arsenal. Good one here by Carney. Manchester City should get it away. There's enough bodies around there. It's in towards the edge of the 6-yard area. Comes back again, and there's a little setup and an early save for the goalkeeper from Cuthbert's effort that lacked any sort of power really to beat Karen Bardsley.
Chelsea have started so well, and that's what they do. They press really high up the field, win the ball back, and it's poor defending from Manchester City, but can't quite clear the lines as it falls to Erin Cuthbert. I don't think she realises how much time she has.
They really have the hoodoo sign over Manchester City in this particular competition. Chelsea never lost against them, as we've been hearing. Here's Beattie. That wonderful sporting family. And Chelsea once again look for Ramona Backman. Manchester City can cross the halfway line for the first time. Willett, Belgium's record scorer. There's Kira Walsh. What a season she's had in the present for Manchester City, and very much a mainstay of England now. I know she's only played half a dozen times, but she'll be one of the first names on Phil Neville's team sheet, I would think. Let's play back to Stanway. The shot was blocked. And through then towards Anne-Katrin Berger, signed in January. This is her fourth game for the club. Anderson. And then to Berger, who overcame serious illness a couple of years ago, playing high-class football. Testament to her spirit. There's Mjelde. And back to Millie Bright. Back on the England side against Spain. Her first appearance in 5 internationals for them because of injuries. And she'll partner very much likely partner of Steph Houghton in the summer in France.
You can see that's what Chelsea are looking to do. They're looking for those channels, aren't they, with Bachmann running one channel, Frank Kirby running the other. Both got so much pace, and if there is any space in behind Steph Houghton and Jen Beattie, they will exploit it.
A successful rate against Manchester City as coach of Chelsea. There's Matt Beard in summer 2012. Flip ball over the top by Sophie Ingle, the Welsh international. Manchester City look for Paris. It's long by Eriksson, left side centre back, the Swedish international. She used to listen to Heroes by David Bowie before every game. Not a bad choice. But Manus, who did against Liverpool in the league, it's her first cup tie of the season, though, the FA Cup. Off the bench in the final in 2017, the England international, Abby McManus. Come strongly through for Phil Neville as well. Really hard Nick Cushing in his career. He's clinched the title in 2016 by beating Chelsea. Manchester City already have that one trophy with the Karabatis penalty heroics in the Continental Cup final. To Jennifer Beattie. Steph Houghton was saying in the build-up to this she hoped the crowd would really be noisy here today. I don't think conditions are helping.
It's always a great atmosphere here, and I think Steph Houghton did allude to it that, you know, that home advantage can maybe help.
I think everyone's freezing, sir.
It is so cold.
It's the first time in a fairly long career for me that at this time of the year they've had to bring blankets up to the commentary position to try and keep us from numbing. That's over the top, and a good run here for Manchester City by Stanway, and Nikita Paris is in support. Back onto a left foot, and a shot that's again tickled through to Katrin Berger from Manchester City's 23 goal, Nikita Paris. 29 in their last 26 games, actually.
Really good play from Georgia Stanway, though. Nice ball, nice weight of pass, and you know, she can see Nikita Paris coming in, gets a head up, and again, quick feet onto her left foot, just can't generate any power. But that's how Manchester City will get in.
She's chasing down again. It's a terrific strike rate for club and country, 29 and 26. It's having a wonderful season.
She's in great form, isn't she?
Ingle steadying things down for Chelsea in midfield again. Kirby. And Bachmann the return. Carney's in the middle. Again, good check back to throw Houghton off balance. Punched away by Karen Bardsley. There's a real fight on her hands now to button down that England #1 jersey. John Anderson. Up there by Ingle, she does that job well.
Yeah, Sophie Ingle really does. We spoke about Kira Walsh before the game and how she breaks up the play in there and sets things going, sets the tempo of the game. Sophie Ingle exactly the same for Chelsea.
It's offside against Stanway over there. She's only 20. She's been around forever. She was on the bench in the cup final for 2017. Manchester City have Willett in a deeper position on this right-hand side. Stanley pushed up with Paris. Not quite as we thought they would be. Here's Paris now looking for the edge of the penalty. Stanway was there. Weir was further across. Here's Scott. Played out to the Scottish international Weir. There's Kira Walsh. And Stanway. Good movement by Manchester City. It's still in play. Tessa Willett gives chase. Good deep cross. Annie Bright slightly misjudged it in the air, and Stanley was just in behind her. And Manchester City are beginning to purr a little bit now and put their passes together. So
yeah, after Chelsea started so strong, pressed so high up the pitch, which you always expect Chelsea to do. That's how they start games, very much on the front foot. But Manchester City have rode that storm and just played their way back into the game. And again, a lovely ball from Keira Walsh to set that move going. So intelligent in their play.
Willett into Paris. Dispossessed by Lena Anderson, cleared away by Karen Carney. Hilton. Walsh. And off goes Tessa Willett. Paris has pulled into a good position across the far side. Weir was coming in, hit it with real power. It was blocked by Mjelde. In the last couple of cup ties, Caroline Weir. It's a free kick, but Mjelde might feel she was a little bit hard done by. She was physical in the challenge, yes. Somewhere went down.
I think there's a little push in the back there, but Mjelde out of position. She can play anywhere. She's so versatile. Centre midfield, centre half, and she's playing as full-back, but it's so different, isn't it, when you're playing out wide to centrally trying to get your positioning right.
Launched in then. Looking for Scott with a header. And surprisingly, she won it in there. Won her back in 2010 with Everton. She used to travel down from Sunderland to train at Everton, then get back to her hometown. She's never forgotten her route. She runs a coaching academy there. Life has changed for the women players these days, and will continue to change for them as football develops. Talking to a couple of coaches though who work with the women's game up here in the northwest, coming up on the train today, so and they said one of the problems they still have though is trying to get women coaches into the game. The FA are doing their best, but they come across a lot of reticence that people think they can't be coaches. Well, the FA will coach you in that field. If you want to get involved in women's football, just contact your local FA. Very keen to do that. Here comes that free kick in again. Let's have a look at it. Jill Scott rising higher, Sue.
Yeah, and going back to the point of the coaches, I think it's a great thing that Emma Hayes is here. She's leading the way, isn't she?
Backman, this is a chance here for Chelsea's number one, and the England number one just foils Fran Kirby. A wry smile, but she knows she was in there then. It's a big chance.
That's how quickly they can break. You know, it's from a Manchester City throw. It's a poor pass, and straight away Backman's onto it, anticipates, sees where Kirby is, and that's a very good save from Karen Barsley with her feet. You can see Kirby's looking one way, goes the other. Karen Barsley knows exactly what she's trying to do.
Terrific player, Backman. It's easier for Barsley. Just have a quick mention there on that battle for England's number one position in the summer in France, because it's really heating up now.
It really, and it's great, because that's exactly what we want. We want all of the goalkeepers performing at the highest level for the clubs when they play for England, and that's what they're doing. It's a headache for Phil Neville. I wouldn't like to be in his position.
Manis. Willett, who's causing problems down this right-hand side. There's one back for Chelsea. Been challenged by Erin Cuthbert, another one of the Scottish internationals that are here today. And the way that Scotland are building up with that win over Brazil the other night, they are going to be fiercely competitive. And it would be a massive danger if anyone underestimates them in that group in France. Cuthbert away on the right-hand side. Backman's across there. Winning run-up. Good skills, good technical player. away towards Anderson. And away by Jill Scott for Manchester City. Ingle. Eriksson. And here's Millie Bright. Bright's available again. This is a good example to any youngster who wants to get into football, even if you've had problems with illness when you're little. She certainly had. She had pneumonia, I think she had a whooping cough when she was an infant. She'll be playing in a World Cup in the summer. Here's Spence. Backman might have a go from there. Cuthbert is in the wide position into Fran Kirby, and Steph Horton read that. And now Demi Stokes. Quite a battle for Demi Stokes, with Alex Greenwood to become England's first choice left back in the summer. As we were saying the other night, I think the full-back positions are buttoned down with Daly and Bronze on the right hand side. McManus can play as a right back, and she is doing so for her country. Chances though for one or two players in coming weeks as the season comes to its final climax in the FA Cup and also in the Super League. Really good move and a fine stop as well, this.
Yeah, it's a great move. It's just how quickly they break, isn't it? And you can see what she was trying to do, Fran Kirby there. She's just trying to place it into the corner, but look the other way. Karen Barsley, top goalkeeper though. Here's
Kirby. Spence was arriving. Cuthbert is there. And it goes to Mjelde. Pinged across it. Jen Beattie stood firm. Needed to as well. And now Jill Scott. A late challenge on her by Ingle, and the referee's going to pull it back, quite rightly so. It's going to be a yellow card.
It was a loose touch actually from Jill Scott initially. I think that's where Sophie Ingle thought, I can win this ball. It is a late challenge on her and probably is a yellow card as well.
FA Cup runner-up with Birmingham. Here's Paris. Willett. Back to Paris, shrugs off Spence. And was held back. The wind slicing around, sluicing around the Academy Stadium in Manchester, which is going to make it quite difficult here for the Chelsea goalkeeper and Katrin Berger. Stanley moves away and leaves the centre for Caroline Weir. Chip ball in for Scott in there as well. Beattie was behind her, launched away by Mjelde. Looking again into that Chelsea penalty area. Powerful crosser of the ball is Caroline Weir. Dunfermline girl who came from Liverpool. It's a semi-final there. One step away from Wembley. Just joined us, West Ham United beat Reading on penalties. So this will face the Hammers in the final. Uncharted territory for West Ham. Should be Manchester City. I wonder if West Ham will be haunted by memories of that 7-1 against City early on in the season. Beattie to Horton.
There you go, foot forward, foot forward.
low and flat the ball from Abby McManus, rather disappointing.
See where she was trying to get the ball. Nikita Paris was just pointing, wasn't she? Just read quite easily by Anderson. But at times I'm watching City, they've got 4 players going forward. So you've got Paris and Stanway centrally, but then you've got Woolhart and Weir on the other side, and they're joining in. The way they interchange of positions and the understanding, great to watch.
Joking with Emma Hayes before the game. The last time I spoke to her in an FA Cup tie was at the final last spring when she was very heavily pregnant, you'll remember. It's a little bit of a nervy piece of goalkeeping by Berger. She nearly got caught. And Stanway closed in on her.
He's just anticipated that the ball was going to go back. Nikita Paris did well as well to cut that angle off. Good closing down, but thankfully for Berger it didn't, and for Chelsea it didn't go in.
Good turn by Backman. Supporting run. Held it back to Spence. Instead of the goalkeeper. There's 10 goals this season from midfield, Spence. Walsh, we're ambitious. Anderson. That's the midway mark of the first half. No goals. Paris to link up with Scott. Used away by Eriksson. And Sophie Ingle again. Such a strong World Cup qualifying campaign. In the end, Wales were picked by England. Carney will be hoping to go with England to France. And here's Cuthbert to take on Stokes. Did everything right there as a fullback. Stood up, got the block in. Used Beattie to get it away. Good fullback play that. That's a little push by Stanway.
Yeah, great defending from Demi Stokes there, because when Erin Cuthbert faces up, that's exactly what she's going to do. She's going to try and beat you. Go one way, go the other. Capable of doing both, but Stokes stood up well.
Harney with the free kick then for Chelsea. We are midway through the half now. Towards Ingle. Came off out of McManus. And she was pushing. It's a free kick here then to Manchester City. Substitutes just warming up. Amongst the Bethany England, you'll know her so well. We spoke about her a few minutes ago, but she's been in terrific form. She's forced her way through this season.
Yeah, she has. She's done so well, and will probably feel quite aggrieved not to have started the game today. Went out on loan at Liverpool, was brilliant there, came back and just worked her way into the side. Lovely. Got to give a player credit for that, haven't you?
Yeah, lovely to see her massive smile when she saw you and gave you a big cuddle.
Yeah, we played together at Doncaster Bell, so I know Beth really well, and yeah, I'm just really glad that she's performing at the level that I think we all thought she could when she was at Doncaster.
They all smile when they see you, well, apart from me. And Spence. Intriguing one, this one. So tight.
Yeah. So difficult to call, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just two very good footballing sides. Tactically so astute, aren't they? And can change within a game.
And he's come to this near side. Backman, who's wandered all over the place. It's a good steal of a challenge. Oh, McManus. Paris is dropping a yard or two off a marker. Careful defending though by Magdalena Eriksson. And back by Fran Kirby. We've seen there Fran Kirby just with her body language towards her teammates, wanting more from them. She's always been like that, you know, since coming into the England side 4 years ago in Canada. Always been assertive, always been confident, always driven on her teammates. Seth Horton, recognised as a leader by Mark Sampson, the England manager, when he gave her that job, and knew she was ambitious for club and country. And that's not a very good ball by the England captain. And Kirby now finds Carney. Check back. Trying to find Backman, and it's brought away now for Manchester City. Here's Jill Scott. Here's it again. In the 2017 final, Scott, here's Willett. He's won the Cup of Standard Liège and Anderlecht in Belgium and Wolfsburg in Germany. He's had a terrific time there. Wolfsburg, one of the dominant sides in European football, one of the best in the world. McManus. Here's Carney. I think it goes against McManus.
It was just a bit overzealous, wasn't it?
One of the moments of the season she won't thank me for reminding everybody was that own goal at Birmingham, wasn't it, from about 50 yards out. Very unfortunate, sailed over her own goalkeeper. Minnie Bright in there, Carney with the ball in towards Bright. Slammed back into the area by the tall Welsh midfielder, Sophie Ingle. Having a good game. Chelsea side that lost at Birmingham, what was that, 7 years ago now in the final? Back again at Chelsea, went to Liverpool for a while. Minnie Bright, another Doncaster Bells player, she would know.
Yeah, again, she's another player that's developed so much. Playing at the top of her game.
Bright can have a run here on Jem Beattie. Very quick to get out to block that Manchester City. Diligent play by Caroline Weir. Got over there very quickly. This one will go longer then. Bright's gone in on the goalkeeper this time. Backman is in a dangerous position if it comes out. All the way through, but worth a go in this swirling wind. Wrapped up against the goal, the Chelsea coach. Hayes MBE. Did a sort of coaching apprenticeship out in the States. She was the youngest female head coach in Western League history. She was 25 when she was over there. Kirby with the run, away by Beattie. Carney will keep it in. Here's Karen Carney then. And Kirby again just drifting into space as she does, Mjolder. Not getting back at her though from Manchester City by Stanway. Ingle has to go some to get there ahead of Paris and can't do it. Nikita Paris waiting for support. Willett has come back to the right hand side. We're gone left again for Manchester City.
Do you know, Nikita Paris has developed so much in her game. Just then that hold up play.
Very forthright and honest in her approach to the game, on and off the field. She was telling me the other day that she just speaks her mind. If she thinks something, she says, she tells it as it is.
She's quite refreshing.
Yeah.
I think we've always known how good she is going forward. She's got pace, she can dribble, very confident. I just think her all-round game has really come on this season.
The women's game is refreshing, Sue. You know, I kept saying it for years now, their attitude, their openness. We've got terrific stories to tell. I was up at St George's with the England group last week. Very engaging group of women. Now here's Kirby. Carney's to the right-hand side, making that run to open up a gap, but there was no one coming in the right fullback position. Has got there now, but just a suspicion there. If she had been a natural right-back, she'd have got up. Carney. Now she's got a chance to get the cross, and Mjelde burrowing into the box and just taking off her toes. Weir has worked very hard up and down that side for Manchester City.
Yeah, she has. Both her and Woolert, their positioning is key. They have to get back in and do the defensive responsibilities, but then they're expected to get forward and help out. It's a tough job.
Is this the moment for the breakthrough? Half an hour gone. The Manchester City Academy Stadium is wonderful setup up here. Driven to the edge of the box. Spence couldn't control it. Let's leave it away. This stadium is just across the road from the main Etihad, and it's a complex of training facilities, training pitches. Right up there then for Chelsea with Horton. He stayed down. I bet you'd have loved to have facilities like this, Sue, when you were playing for England.
Oh, definitely. I remember speaking to both Jill Scott and Steph Horton when they first signed for Manchester City, and they just said it's just a different world.
There's a chase for Stanley. So long ago since you played now, Sue, for England. Did they have crossbars then, or was it tapes? You haven't actually retired. You haven't retired, have you?
No, I'm still available for selection.
That's right. Phil Neville is here today, as we've said. That's a Manchester City throw, just deflected off Carney. A bit frustrated there, Karen. Why was she frustrated with Ramona Bachmann? Not too sure. Cross wires.
I'm not sure.
Can always count on you for an answer. You Beatty.
I'm just thinking about my playing career. Those many moons ago.
Wasn't long ago, was it? Actually, how long ago was it now you played for England? 5 years? No, longer ago than 5, wasn't it?
2012.
Oof. Time creeps on. Kirby. Beatty and Horton nearly left it to each other. And here's Walsh. This is where she's sound for club and country. He rarely gives the ball away in that third. Reliable. Really, England, looking ahead to the summer, only have Jade Moore who could do that job, I think.
I thought she did a really good job actually the other night.
Yeah.
And that's what Phil Neville wants, isn't it? He wants the 2 players for every position, challenging each other. He's pretty much got that now, I think.
Jordan Nobbs could have done it, but of course she's out injured. She'll be very badly missed, I think, by England.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible for her, because she was injured in Canada and only played a minimal role there.
She would have been a starter. Just miss her energy in that midfield.
It's been on for Chelsea in this FA Cup semi-final. No goals, has to be settled here today. Extra time and penalties, West Ham beating Reading, as we were said. Oh, listen to that wind. We're under good pressure. Good tussle over there. The manager watching on. Has to get his squad settled in his mind now. I think he's very nearly there. Here's Bright. Milder. To creep it through to Ramona Bachmann. Spence cuts it through to the Swiss international.
Yeah, what Bachmann and Kirby do so well is they find those little pockets of space, don't they, between the defence and the midfield. And one will come short to try and get into that space, and the other one will go long. They're just not really managed to link up on enough occasions.
I hope at the end of the game, Ramona Bachmann does a post-match interview on the pitch with Rachel, because she got the England goalkeeper sent off in a World Cup qualifier playing for Switzerland against England, World Cup 11 it was, and she definitely got Rachel sent off.
She did. I think they've made up since then though.
There's a chance for Stanway, switched feet and got the shot away. That's the best moment of the half so far. 10 minutes to go, clever football that.
Real clever football, and that's exactly what Manchester City can do. That real quick passing, good movement. She is onside. Great touch to take it away from Millie Bright. Gives herself space, and I just thought it was just going to nestle into the bottom corner. But she's got the ability to do that. Good bit of play from Manchester City.
Good scoring record for the club. 34 in 83 games. Came off the bench to score 2 at Liverpool. Substitutes have done well in the cup for Manchester City this season. Nikita Paris came off the bench and scored a couple against Watford. Willett looks for Abby McManus to the Belgium international. There's 39 goals for her country. Horton hits long. And the goalkeeper thought about coming, didn't get there. Paris has gone around there, and that's the best chance of the half. We've just had the best moment of the half for Manchester City. We've had the best chance too. And a real mix-up at the back for Chelsea, who haven't got it away. Stokes with the drive in. And nervy keeping by Ann-Katrin, who might well have just picked that ball up then. But hoofed it clear.
Just seemed like miscommunication at the back there from Chelsea. Goalkeeper, defenders, nobody taking command of it. Nikita Paris did everything well, but the finish anticipated it so well, but just couldn't quite get it on target.
Weir. There was hesitation at the back for Chelsea, and it was nearly fatal.
Yeah, and very unlike Chelsea at the back. You know, normally Berger would come out and clear that. But she's just a danger every time, isn't she, Nikita Paris?
As is Bachmann for Chelsea. Cuthbert back to the Swiss international. And Mjolder, Millie Bright sensibly dropping off a couple of yards to open up that gap. Anderson got forward well down the left-hand side, good ball to her as well. Willett into McManus, she stroked the pass to Nikita Paris. She's beginning to pick out pockets of space, looking for Stanway. She's offside.
I think she was just offside. She's saying she wasn't, but it looked like she was trying to hold her run, curve her, and we can see here. So as Nikita Paris takes that first touch, oh, that's really tight. Really close one.
I think she's onside.
Yeah. That's why she was saying she was onside.
Bachmann picking the ball up again from deep positions and driving at Manchester City. But a fine first half. Cuthbert with the cross in, blocked by Demi Stokes under pressure from Kirby. Weir to Jill Scott, passes come away on the right hand side because she couldn't get the ball out to her. Switch by Willett. Really came all the way through to Scott. Manchester City, I think, looked the stronger team. Chelsea, I think, have a very strong individual in Bachmann. Both teams have had their moments. And as the half has gone on, Manchester United have Manchester City have squeezed on the pressure. Here's Horton. Now Willett. Paris was a little bit sluggish in anticipating the ball, but she's now good pressure from him on Magdalena Eriksson. It's a goal kick.
I think Nikita Paris was she saying that should have been their ball? Maybe there was a foul. I don't think there's anything in that, it's just good defending.
It's a free kick challenged by Danny Stokes. Manchester City fans at the main stand unhappy with the decision.
It's a very strong challenge from Demi Stokes. She's got the ball there.
Don't see anything wrong with that. The challenge on Erin Cuthbert. In both their recent games, the draw against Chile, the famous win against Brazil. Something by Eriksson, back to her. I'll leave it here for Batman. Carney. Intercepted by Willett. Batman's one of these able individuals who seems to float with the ball.
Oh, it's effortless, isn't it, when she runs with the ball? She glides past players.
Always head up as well, always looking for a pass like that one. Kirby, wearing 14, but in terms of position emerging as perhaps one of the best 10s in the world. Would you agree? I know Phil Neville rates her very highly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. First time. Agreed with you.
Blimey. But he thinks he'd prefer to have her than Marta, a Brazilian player. He was saying the other day as a 10.
Do you know, that's what I love about Phil Neville, that he does praise his team, his squad, gets them as confident as they possibly could be going into major tournaments.
Who would be the happier coach in this first half, do you think, Sue?
I think Manchester City have probably created, well, the two best opportunities. But it's just such a tight game. I think we all thought it was going to be like this. Two very good footballing sides that have got so much quality throughout their team, and it is going to be a moment of brilliance that's going to win this game.
Here's Paris. Now Walsh. Away to Weir. Stokes is making a good bustling run. Walsh is available again. Scott to her right hand side. It's a fine ball to Willett, creeping in behind. Chelsea was stretched, they haven't got it away. Paris has won it back. Willett wraps a foot around the ball. That's much better goalkeeping by Berger.
That's what we expect from Berger, to come out, command their area. No, Willett, good quick feet. Just gets in before Caroline Weir's about to head the ball.
And all the way to the Champions League final when she was the PSG goalkeeper. She's just been troubled in the first half by that shoulder. The right shoulder, the Chelsea goalkeeper. Horton. Stokes and Beattie.
It's quite interesting, we could hear Emma Hayes there saying we've got 4 players defending there too, so she's talking about their defensively, and does she want the fullbacks to get further forward? You know, usually that's their out. It's not been on enough occasions, I don't think, for Chelsea today.
Scott couldn't get there now. Spence. Ingle. Kirby dummied it. She thought that either Batman or Carney would have gone in behind, but they hadn't, and now Walsh can bring it away for Manchester City. Straight ball to the diagonal run of Paris, but she had too much to do. Milder. Much strength for Stanway. Backman squeezes the pass out to Kirby, isolated with Horton's gone for the shot early. Into the minute of stoppage time then. Rather snatched at that, Frank Kirby.
She did. I wonder if she could have took it on a little bit more, took an extra touch, got herself into the area. Good play initially from Mielder. I was saying that the fullbacks need to get a little bit more involved. And when it fell to Kirby, I think you expect her to do better. For me, she is one of the greatest players, isn't she? And yeah, she did rather snatch at it, shall we say.
The tears on your eyelashes have frozen. Just looking at you there. Absolutely perishing up there. I don't know what it is. We had that terrible cold night at Colchester with England a couple of years ago. Can you remember, Sue?
I know. I think this is colder.
Horton to Weir. Edge off to Stanway. Berger read that well. Horton's been commanding at the back for Manchester. Commanding season for her. Having to deal with a very difficult personal situation. Husband is ill. We wish Stephen very well. Everyone here. And half time comes then at the Academy Stadium. Your thoughts on that first 45, sir?
Such a close, tight game between two very good sides. I think Manchester City have probably edged it on the good chances, but then you've got Backman and Kirby, who are always a threat for Chelsea. It's going to be such an interesting second half to see what changes maybe both managers make.
Good save by Bardsley, thwarted Kirby, their best chance of the game. Both teams had their opportunities, but at half-time in this FA Cup semi-final, Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0.
Okay, little separating these two sides at half-time. Pretty much probably as you would have expected, both sides going for it. Started pretty well, but of course this is a game of a first half, I should say, of missed opportunities. As we expected, Casey?
It's a little bit cagey. It looks like both teams are a little bit being cautious in terms of the amount of numbers they're getting in advance of the ball and the amount of numbers supporting the attack. But both teams have had good chances to be in front and just haven't taken them.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. I mean, we talked about Nikita Paris before. Usually she's taking these chances. We'll look at her chances in a second, but this is where it counts, isn't it? You've got to be on the ball.
Yeah, I think it's been an intriguing first half, how both teams have set up. I feel like they've both been really cautious in terms of not committing too many numbers forward when they are attacking. So it's going to be interesting to see if the game does open up, because you won't want to be, well, especially Emma Hayes with the Champions League game coming up, you won't want this game going into extra time. So are they going to then commit and throw numbers forward?
Are they going to do that? We're pretty much hoping. Oh, what will it take, let's say, to make the breakthrough today?
Well, I mean, we spoke about it at the beginning, a moment of genius, or, you know, conversely, a major mistake at the back. I think Ann-Katrin Berger got quite lucky. There's a bit of a mix-up, lack of communication, where Nikita Paris should have given City the advantage, but Chelsea have had their chances down there, you know, early on, beginning. Frank Kirby had two glorious chances, which I expected her to execute both of those.
Yeah, and we'll be looking at that now, actually. That particular chance. Frank Kirby was the tormentor for Manchester City last season, scoring 2 against them at this stage. Today, should she have scored that, Alex?
Yeah, anyone, Frank Kirby in that position, you would be backing her to definitely score. And I think Chelsea, this is where they were. You were looking at Chelsea, they were getting in good areas, but you also have to credit Karen Bardsley in this instance as well. It's a great save. Yes, we're saying Frank Kirby should put this in, but it's a great save. I don't know if you want to touch on that, Rachel.
Well, Karen Bardsley, before every game, she has it written on her hand, get big. That's the phrase that she gets in her head, and that's exactly what she did there. She got off a line, she was 6 yards out, made the goal look small, made her look big, and that's what created the save. Good positioning.
And we've talked about Nikita Paris, haven't we, Casey? I mean, again, as with Frank Kirby, you would expect Nikita Paris to put these shots away as well. She's had a couple of chances, hasn't she?
Yeah, and I think it's that clinical edge, isn't it? You know, she gets, obviously, I think it's fortunate the way that obviously the chances have come about. This is a mix-up between defender and goalkeeper who's coming, but it's an open goal, and to not hit the target there, you know, I think she'll be really disappointed, and she's got to do better at this level. She's got to finish that chance. And listen, she's always on the shoulder. She's always a threat. We know that because of her pace, but when you get into an area like that, you've got to put it in the goal.
You touched on it, Rachel. I guess the goalies and the decisions that the managers have been making on the goalies. Is this what would be going through Anne's mind here?
Well, it happens when, you know, goalkeeper is a little bit rusty. They're lacking game time. You know, they don't have that natural bond, and communication is maybe a bit rusty between that back unit, which is a back five today, and it just showed really. But you know, at semi-finals in FA Cup against Manchester City, certainly, you know, semi-finals of the Champions League, teams are gonna punish you for that. So iron those out. They got lucky with that one. No more from a Chelsea point of view.
Not lucky for Georgia Stanway though. She also had a shot on target. It's a pattern. I mean, they're creating opportunities, and that's the important thing.
I actually thought Manchester City got stronger as the half went on. Chelsea started brighter, but then obviously City committed a few more bodies forward. And Georgia Stanway is a threat. You know, she's got good feet. This again is good pressing, but I'd say too slow from the goalkeeper. You know, she's probably got to go off one there and bypass the press and get it into her front players rather than taking the touch.
And the half chances for Manchester City, there were a few of them, weren't there, Rachel?
Well, I think Chelsea certainly edged it in this first half, but you know, there were half chances. Georgia Stanway, as we said at the beginning, she's always going to be running, looking to run in behind, and Nikita Paris, she had that glorious chance to support it. But I think what Chelsea have done really well is consolidate numbers behind the ball. They've got that back line of four, soaked up quite a lot of pressure, and just not given Manchester City much time or space on the ball to have clear-cut chances.
Alex, what kind of a second half would you be expecting on this first half performance?
I don't know, I think looking at it, the way Manchester City are set up, I think there's spaces to exploit in the wide areas for them. Fullbacks are getting on the ball, Nikita Paris has sometimes got on the ball, and they're having to waiting to look around for a pass, when actually if we get the players out in the wide areas, they can attack at more speed, at more pace.
Okay. Well, the winner of this game will be facing West Ham. That was the other semi-final, Reading against West Ham. It finished 1-1 after normal time. It went all the way to extra time and then to penalties as well. It was an incident-packed game. Robin Cowan and Jane Ludlow, watch this one.
This is a high-stakes penalty shootout here to get into the FA Cup final. Here comes Davison. Squeezes it past Morehouse, who went the right way. Jane Ross, another vastly experienced centre-forward from the penalty spot. Beautifully taken. And so the Icelandic international Rakel Honu-Dottir, who has scored in every single round of the FA Cup, up against Morehouse. Honu-Dottir, oh! Vizali to give West Ham a 2-1 lead in the penalty shootout. Vizali, what a save! Maloney. Bruton, oh no, slips at the vital moment.
Oh, absolutely gutted for her. She's been one of the outstanding performers on that pitch today for Reading.
Canadian international, Adriana Leon, composed. 2-1 West Ham lead. Pressure is on Rachel Furness. Nicely done.
Good strong finish into the bottom of the net.
To give West Ham a 3-2 lead. Katie Longhurst. Off the bar. No one wants to win this. So let's see if Remy Allen can up the quality. She's going to have to. Oof. Off the post and in.
You take them. However they go in, you take them.
Gilly Flaherty to keep West Ham in the penalty shootout here. It's a long run up. Flaherty scores, just.
Gilly Flaherty. Oh, she got away with one there.
Jade Moore, saved by Morehouse. The South Korean international Cho So-hyun to put West Ham to Wembley for the first time in their history.
If body language is anything to go by, this is in.
Here is Cho. Cool as you like. Maloney got a hand to it, but it wasn't enough. West Ham are going to Wembley in their first season as a pro club.
Absolute drama in that game. I have to say, it does look like the Manchester rain. It's not. It's the sprinklers right behind us. We're all getting wet here. West Ham, I suppose, in a way, Alex, they are an unknown quantity, aren't they, for whoever will be winning this game? First ever final.
Yeah.
And what a journey as well for them.
I was going to say, it is a great story. And actually, earlier on social media, Claire Rafferty sending out a tweet just hinting at people insinuating whoever wins this game will automatically go to Wembley and lift that cup. But we all know, yes, one of these teams, they will be the favourite. That's fact, and that's for sure, because of the history and when you look at it on paper. But we all know when you get to a final, anything can happen. And the story and the journey that they've been on in this FA Cup, you know, it's magical.
It really is. Casey, we were watching that game as well. If you're Reading, given how normal time finished, and it was just incident-packed, wasn't it? You'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
You would be. You'd be sitting in that, staff and players, you know, devastated that you haven't put your chances away. They had chances to win the game, and they didn't. And obviously, even, you know, West Ham's goal was a little bit scrappy, so they'll be really disappointed. It was a game of missed chances, and I think they've missed their opportunity to get to their first ever FA Cup final.
Yeah, I mean, it is a real shame for them, but especially in that penalty shootout as well, Rachel. Jade Moore was one of 3 players to miss. I mean, you'd practice, wouldn't you, beforehand, or was it just nervy for them? What do you think?
These are experienced players who will have practiced penalties, you know, for their club and for their countries. It's just one of those put on the spot, under pressure, after 120 minutes. You know, it's difficult, and it's about keeping that composure and that mentality. And you know, their new signing, West Ham, does the job for them in the end. Yeah. I'm sure they'll be practicing a lot more before Wembley, given the state of some of those penalties.
And it must be so exciting for them, knowing that they're playing the big hitters. Of course, Alex mentioning that, you know, they do feel like the underdogs, but this is what they are, and they've got a huge chance here.
Yeah, absolutely. And myself and Alex, you know, played in the 2016 Cup final, and probably with the underdogs at Arsenal at that point, playing against Chelsea. And actually, sometimes that gives you a bit of an edge, because no one expects you to win. You go into it with no expectation, therefore no pressure, and everything to gain.
And experience in the side as well, with Gilly Flaherty, with Claire Rafferty. I mean, these girls know what it takes to get to that stage.
Players that have won it, absolutely. And you know, Matt Beard's a very experienced manager, and I think if you'd have said to him at the beginning of the season, I'm West Ham, okay, Matt, you know, going to recruit players from all over the world, you're going to go on a run where it take you to Wembley at the end of the season, he would have snapped your hand off for that, and they fully deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, there is plenty more women's football coming for you here on the BBC. Put these dates in your diary. Our coverage of the 2019 SSE Women's FA Cup final will be on BBC One from 5:10 on Saturday, the 4th of May. And we have England's final World Cup preparations for you too. 25th of May, Denmark are the visitors. And then on the 1st of June, it's England against New Zealand live on BBC One. And just to let you know, there's a pretty tasty match of the day too to look forward to tonight.
Nothing between Manchester City and Liverpool this season. Oh, it's magnificent!
The pendulum swings again.
All action, all absorbing, the full pace, power and fury of the Premier League in all its might. The title race is well and truly on.
Yeah, Chelsea and Manchester City men's team in action there, of course. Plenty coming up on Match of the Day too. But here at the Academy Stadium, we're waiting for the second half of this SSE Women's FA Cup semi-final. But first, let's hand you over to Jo Curry, who's joined pitchside by a very special guest.
Have indeed. I've been joined by one of today's mascots, Layla Priest and Mum Becky. Layla, we saw you walking out right at the beginning with all those players in front of that crowd. What was that like?
I was a little bit nervous, but it was really fun and I was really excited.
You didn't walk out with any player, did you? Who did you walk out with?
Steph
Horton, the England captain. How cool was that?
It was really cool.
Now, Layla, I know you love playing football, but you've had a bit of a tough time of it recently. Mum, just talk us through how this opportunity came about that Layla's mascot here today.
Well, she had a little bit of a tough time with a few boys that she's been playing football with, and it's just her and her other friend who plays football, so it's mainly all boys and just 2 girls. And unfortunately, she's had a repetitive few weeks of where she'd been crying because they weren't passing to her, they didn't want to involve her in the team or take part with her. And we sort of said something to BBC Essex and said that we wanted them to support more girls in football, and they invited her on Friday, and one thing escalated to another thing, and she's here luckily because of Man City, who invited her along, and it's restored that faith for her for football. It's amazing.
Well, it sounds like those boys were a bit mean, but they haven't put you off playing football, have they?
No.
Glad to hear it. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, well, we're moments away from the second half. Alex, what needs to happen in this second half?
Well, I said 2-1, so I'd like to see some goals this half, please.
We've come close, haven't we, though, Casey? So you feel that the chances are coming?
Yeah, and I think once someone finishes one of those chances, I think the game has to open up a little bit more, and both teams will commit more bodies forward. And whether either team will make a change. Obviously, Chelsea got a really strong bench, so Emma's got the opportunity to make changes at any time.
The keepers could be key, Rachel.
Yeah, they won't change, but I can see Emma Hayes absolutely, I think, will make changes. She's got half an eye on the game coming up in the Champions League. She won't want all these players to kind of go through extra time, etc. So at some point, I think she's going to have to shake it up, but she's absolutely got the depth on the bench to do so and bring on a winner.
Okay, no changes yet, but let's hand you over to our commentary team for this second half. Jonathan Pearce and Sue Smith.
Thank you very much, players out there in a huddle. No changes, as you were saying. The wind has got, if anything, a little bit more spiteful and swirly up here at the Academy Stadium. It's a grey old day. No rain. No goals for either coach. Hayes saw her side create opportunities in the first third of that 45-minute period. And then Manchester City came on strongly. Weir down the left-hand side and Mullard on the right-hand side, working tremendously hard up and back. But this is the key player for me as we get off and underway in the second half. Sue, with Chelsea in the dark blue, kicking from left to right. Ramona Bachmann, I think, will be key.
Yeah, she's been excellent in the first half, and it's here. She finds that it's a poor pass, but she finds those little pockets of space and is always looking to link up and then go. Such great vision and awareness of players around her.
Here's Weir. She's a good deliverer of a cross from this near side. If she can get the ball in, and perhaps Bullock can come in off the right-hand side to add numbers to Nikita Paris, who's isolated in the box, and maybe Manchester City can threaten as well.
See, I quite like Caroline Weir more centrally, maybe in a 10 role. I think she can influence the game a lot more.
I think this is the Norwegian, Jonna Andersen, just back from international duty, or the Swede, I should say, just back from international duty. Played against Austria. Steph Horton, the feel of the ball for the England captain. Played in the defeat against Canada and then dropped out of the squad for the Spain game down in Swindon. A little bit of afters there. Yelda and Stammer, what was that all about? Unnecessary, really. A fair rarity. You don't really see this too often in the women's game.
I think Yelda just thought there was a little shove from Georgia Stanway there and was just telling her, but Stanway did so well. I'm not sure what she said to her, but she just walked off. That's how you should react.
Well, she was shepherding the ball out of play and blocking Stanway, who would have felt aggrieved by that, and just a little bit of physicality. Here's Horton. And Jem Beattie and Stokes. Willett. Horton. And Scott. It's going to be a throw. Here's Stokes. There's a header tap. Walsh. Beattie again. England fan, think it's going to be easy in the summer against Scotland when you've got the likes of Beattie and you've got Cuthbert and you've got Weir. It's a good Scottish side, I think. So.
Really good side, and I don't think they will underestimate them. I think they know how good they are, how they're in form at the moment as well, and they've got a real belief that they can go out and beat anybody, and it's always going to be a tough game in the World Cup against your neighbours.
And it's live and exclusive on the BBC. Whole tournament coming your way in the summer. Milder. Backman going down the line, trying to get in behind Demi Stokes. On the ball, oh, lovely turn, well played. Composed. Suffered that great heartache 4 years ago, Sue, didn't she, when she played in the qualifiers and then didn't make Canada.
Yeah, I felt so sorry for her, but what a character to come back, and you know, she just worked her way back into the side and has done ever since.
With her, she was feeling her hamstring. Demi Stokes. A little bit sloppy that. By Manchester City right forward. Stokes looks okay now. Just after that nimble turn. Just a thumbs up there though. So I think she's okay. Terrific story, that West Ham story, Sue, going to Wembley. Having come up through the tiers, first season at senior level.
It really is. Matt Beard's done so well to assemble a very good side, mixture of experience and young players.
Positive goalkeeping. The German one and capturing Berger. Chelsea shirt, she was brilliant against Chelsea in the semi-final of this competition a couple of years back when he went to penalties. She made 11 saves alone in that game. By Anderson. She's stuck at the moment, Emma Hayes, with a flat back four. Hint she might change it when she was talking to us beforehand. She played the 3 against Manchester City at this stage last season at home.
I wonder if she'll leave it for a certain amount of time and then decide to go, because she can change systems like that.
Comes a low cross, it fizzes away awkwardly off Magdalena Eriksson. And that's going to be a corner kick now to Manchester City. Walton lifted it in originally. Stanway with the turn. Percentage ball, low and hard and fizzing in towards the 6-yard area.
Good positioning from Eriksson.
Walton there, Weir there with the height. Jill Scott's always a dangerous set piece. Beattie comes up with a very late run, charging into the box, and it drops here for Weir, and it's blocked, and Walton was still in there for Manchester City. Chips it straight into the hands of that captured Berger, but that was a terrific storming late run up into the box by Jennifer Beattie there to get up.
So dangerous at set pieces, Jennifer Beattie, especially when she gets a run on you like that. Yeah, you can see it was just a late run. She's actually being marked by Frank Kirby. She tried to block her at any rate. And then you could see what Steph Houghton was trying to do. She's just trying to dink it to the far post, but again, Berger, good positioning, good strong hands.
Late goal, didn't she, at Liverpool in the league. Beattie was 4 or 5 minutes into stoppage time in the victory. Stokes. Manchester City with the Continental Cup. In the league, they're a point behind Arsenal. They've got a couple of games to play. Arsenal have a game in hand, and very much the hot favourites to go back to winning ways in the league in terms of titles. In a while, here's Stanway and Woollett with the pullback. Ingle was well positioned again, and Carney lifts it away. But Manchester City here are winning a lot of second balls, and they're getting on top slowly You've always got the threat of Chelsea on the counter. Backman and Kirby. The Olders arriving on the outside. And Kirby can go all the way. Shot hit Beattie. And there's no Chelsea players pushing on from midfield. Spence and Ingle both sitting deep, and that's why Fran Kirby was annoyed.
I think Casey Stoney made that point at half-time, where she was saying that players just seem to be a little bit too nervous to commit forward. If they're going to win the game, they're going to have to do that. City seem to be doing it a little bit more.
Massive week for Chelsea, going out to Lyon in the Champions League. Good driving run by Erin Cuthbert, corner ball. Good positive run by the former Glasgow City player. Here come then, Millie Bright, couple of goals this season. Spence is there into double figures. Scored against Everton in this competition. Bright twice an FA Cup winner. Spence in there, Ingle in there, tall and threatening. Hasn't scored this season though. Manchester City with all 11 back. Karen Carney will swing it away. Crowd's gone a little bit quiet. Far stick in the header, just plopped gently over. The centre halves were up, and Eriksson with the header that just dropped over.
She got off well, Eriksson, but there's enough Manchester City players around her to make sure that the header couldn't go on target.
A bit of a risky back pass there. Barnsley's only played it out towards Cuthbert. Ingle arrives, might have a go at goal. Switch it away to Mjelde, the ball's behind her. There was a shooting opportunity there for Chelsea on the edge of the box because Manchester City hadn't got their shape back. Ingle, high swirler.
It's great anticipation though from Fran Kirby, wasn't it? Could see that the back pass wasn't great to Karen Bardsley. Put pressure under her, which meant that she couldn't clear her lines effectively, and I think it was Erin Cuthbert that probably could have had the shot.
Chelsea are going to make a change. And it looks as if G's going to come on for them. Here's Kirby. Carney went ahead of her. Spence. Switched away to Anderson. There's Cuthbert with the cross. And Horton hammers it away. I think they're going to make a change in that central midfield area and bring on the more creative player and a terrific player as well in Chi.
What a player to be able to bring on. She operates in those tight areas and technically so good and always seems to pop up with a real important goal.
We thought she would start. Both the coaches kept their teams very, very closely under wraps. So we tried to guess both lineups, and then when we spoke to the managers about an hour and a half before kick-off, we showed them our guesswork. We were fairly close to Manchester City. I think we were 3 out. Chelsea, we didn't have a clue. I think we got 8 wrong. We had G starting, she didn't. She's going to come on. Here's Cuthbert.
But that's the strength of their squad, isn't it? That they can play any of the players and it doesn't weaken the side.
And Emma Hayes does keep her own team guessing as well. This is a strong run. Into the box it goes, Horton away. They're beginning to make inroads down that left-hand side, Cuthbert and Anderson.
Yeah, they certainly are, and You know, surprised they didn't do that as much in the first half, both fullbacks, because that's how they can get Manchester City down the side, especially when the fullbacks like to go forward. That's where the spaces are.
Carney started the second half on the right, Cuthbert on the left. It's paying dividends for them. Another Chelsea corner then. One goal might settle this, you know, today. Swings away and safe hands. Karen Bardsley drops on it. Good safe hands there from Karen Bardsley. They aren't ideal conditions for goalkeepers today.
It's difficult for goalkeepers because the wind is just swirling around, so it's difficult to predict what it's going to do when the ball's in the air, but both of them have done okay.
Kirby can turn and run. Trapped by Willett, gets beyond her and was fouled. I don't think it was Stefan, I think it was a little nudge by Willett. We'll see the referee caution. Stefan's already walked away out of it. Yeah, it's definitely Willett, just with a little push.
Yeah, I think Willett was beat. She knew that she was beat. Steph Horton was coming across. You can see here just a little tug and a little trip. Steph Horton just come across to help her out. So I think that's what the booking was for.
Free kick here then. For Chelsea in a dangerous area. Milder standing over it. Cuthbert's moving away. So this will be right-footed. Under the wall. Very nearly crept in. Barty, I think, had it covered. Clever one. She anticipated the jump and went under the wall.
It went under the wall and it looked like, or it sounded like it clipped off somebody's heels or studs. I think Karen Bardsley did have it covered. Was it Jen Beattie? Yes, clever that.
Carney with the corner now for Chelsea. Bryant is blocking the goalkeeper off. England teammates, of course. And it comes. Scott didn't get there. And the header on goal by Eriksson again. It's two important headers she's had now. And on an hour. Calmly saved by Bardsley, who looks in very confident form.
She really does. Yeah, it's both Eriksson and Bright. They're the two players that Chelsea aim for on them set pieces.
Substitute G, by the way, is not yet ready to come on, and she's now wrapped herself in a blanket. I think it's so cold.
It's like you at half time.
There's Ramona Backman.
Don't worry, that's on social media.
Have you put that picture on social media? It's terrible. Here's Carney. Out by Horton. Carney again. Anderson picks up Kirby. Good little lay back. Backman arriving. Oh, got it all wrong. Sliced across the ball and it went well wide off her right foot.
They're the two key players though, aren't they, for Chelsea? You think that something's going to happen when they both get on the ball. You can see what she was trying to do, just got the technique completely wrong.
There she is with her blanket. Flag's blown away. Emma Hayes, blue and white army there, look. Did a fantastic job as Chelsea coach. Horton. Scott. Beattie. Back again then. to the Scottish international, having a look. No movement up front. Nikita Paris has dropped in short. Chelsea the better team at the moment. Manchester City have lost their way. Cuthbert with a wriggling run. Stokes giving chase. Backman just floating into the space behind. And Mjelde.
I think Demi Stokes has played really well. You know, Erin Cuthbert's difficult to play against, so much energy, but I think she's dealt with her very, very well.
Spencer winning the ball, didn't come to her. Carney out by Horton. Now a chance here for Manchester City on the counter. Released by Stanway out to Weir. Jill Scott was arriving, wanted it played early into the box, but Weir checked back and the chance had gone. That would be frustrating for Scott because she galloped up a long, long way. Walsh. Casavullet into the box, and Nikita Paris squeezed in between the two, and her header wasn't too far wide. Got in between Bright and Mjelde there.
It's a great delivery, and what a run. You know, just gets a head up Willart, sees Nikita Paris's run in between Mjelde and Millie Bright. Just can't direct it on target. Great ball. And what a run. She's so tenacious, Nikita Paris. Never, ever gives anything up.
Walsh goes long. Oh, now there's an incident in the middle. One of the Chelsea players has gone down. He's okay now. It was Eriksson who went down as she tracked back with the Nikita Paris through the middle. Manchester City beat Chelsea in the Continental Cup semi-final away earlier this year. Here's Beattie. Scott. Back to Beattie again. Wharton. Barnsley has Beattie there, but they're playing a dangerous game on the edge of their own penalty area. Kirby will pressurise Horton. And very deep. Manchester City, typical City style that, but they've been now caught in possession. Anderson. Kirby. Strange one. Overcooked that completely.
Yeah, she did. She had 3 players to aim for. Again, good pressurising from Chelsea. It's one of them instigates it and then they all go and they all shift across, and you know, the first one doesn't win it, maybe the second one doesn't, but then the third one did win it, and it's good build-up play, and Chelsea have been on top. Yeah, she's looking for the far post, but both players had run centrally. It's a misunderstanding.
Here's Beattie. Beattie, daughter of Lions in Scotland, John, and sister of Scottish international Johnny. Referee had blown there, by the way. That's why Kira Walsh could put her head down on the ball. Jen Beattie. Pull the ball out. Spence for Chelsea. 0-0. Very tight. One goal could do it. Kirby. Cuthbert's come back to the right-hand side. Carney was coming in from the left. She's still in there, looking at that penalty area. Spence couldn't stretch to it. Here's Nikita Paris. Willett has Scott ahead. Stanway through the middle. There's Scott. No great progress. Stanway. Scott. And away by Ingle. Both coaches, I think, need to change their lineups. Manchester City, the first to make a move. It's going to be Janine Becky who comes on. USA-born Canadian international. She replaces Weir. 8 goals this season. Scored against Liverpool in this competition, just signed a new deal.
She's a real different type of player to Weir, very direct, very quick. Regular for the Canadian side.
Has 25 goals from 54 internationals, played against England the other day in that win. Paris should go to the right hand side. No way through. Still might be a little bit of rotation, but I would imagine Becky will go through the middle and Stanley will come to the left hand side and Nikita Paris to the right of a front three. Stanley just in a deeper position there. Who got the last touch? Paris says it went off the Chelsea player, Eriksson, but the referee disagrees. Minutes before we go to extra time. Please don't let us go to extra time, not with this cold. Backman. Kirby. Yelled up. Cuthbert couldn't quite get there, although she was pressing high there for Chelsea. Does go to extra time. A couple of days, you're driving past the Academy Stadium, you see two sort of weird shaped ice sculptures in the back of the stand. What remains of Sue myself. Zapped out, look at the blankets. Sniffles and snuffles and given up.
Wish I had a coat like that.
But Stanley again, look, chasing back. Terrific attitude. Just did enough there. Cuthbert thought that she was fouled actually by the England player, but she just did enough physically this side of the law. England's play West Ham in May at Wembley. West Ham travelling on penalties against Reading.
Oh, ball referee.
When will she make her change, do you think?
I think G was all ready to come on, and whether she's seen that her side was starting to get on top and finding ways through that Manchester City defence and change their mind.
Minnie Bright read that well. Here's Cuthbert.
It's horrible as a player that though, when you think you're coming on, you've just warmed up, you're just ready to go on, and they say sit back down. Happened to me on a couple of occasions.
Yep. Claire, actually. A couple of finals now in this competition. Here's Kirby. What really happened for her today? She had that early chance, denied by Karen Bardsley. Here's Batman. He's infield. Horton came to meet it. And her presence did enough. And now Scott for Manchester City. Others are on the right hand side. Paris. With a stumble. That's offside. It's well played, Chelsea. Held the line well.
It's a really good line from Chelsea here. Oh, I think she's onside.
I don't. Milda. There's time and space for Millie Bright. Chase for Beattie. Blackman was nagging away. And on Stokes as well. Cuthbert has kept it in. Chelsea have an opportunity here. Spence, Backman. No great presence in the box again, though. Build-up has been too slow, too cagey. It's been a nervy semi-final, this. Here's Mjelde. Stockholm-born Magdalena Eriksson. Trying to switch it away to Backman. Stanway was there. Ingle got the pass away second time. Referee will pull it back. Good decision. She's going to caution Stanway for the first challenge there.
Good position this for Chelsea. You've got Backman, you've got Kirby, Karen Carney. And they've all walked away.
Karen Carney's still there.
It was just late. They were going for the ball, both of them.
Going to be left foot of Eriksson from here. I mean, Cuthbert has stood next to Eriksson. He's got a couple of goals this season. He's walked away and left it to Erin Cuthbert, which means this will be a chip into. I don't think she's going to go direct at goal. Millie Bright is free on the far side of the penalty area. Steph Horton's been left with two. Now she's left with Millie Bright alone. It's played in. Oh, now it's hit the top of the bar. That's the closest we've come to a goal so far. And Fran Kirby launched herself at it. Got away from her marker. And Chelsea so close to the opening goal.
Great delivery from Erin Cuthbert. There's loads of pace on the ball. And Fran Kirby just manages to get in front. Is it Demi Stokes? She gets in between two players. Really unlucky that. Got to be brave. She was.
Chelsea have been by far the better team in the second half, Sue, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They really have. They've upped the intensity. But again, it's just that, maybe that final ball or being clinical in front of goal. Both sides have lacked that, and something that we're not used to seeing.
As Backman, she's been relatively quieter in this second half, even though Chelsea have grown in stature in the game. Bullock tries to find Becky. Hardy won't get to that. Steph Horton gave herself time. It was measured play. Another Manchester City and England captain.
Yeah, it was clever this, because we were trying to work out, are they going to shoot, are they going to dink it to the far post, but yeah, Fran Kirby does so well. It's her and Eriksson both going for the same ball. So difficult to try and get that on target when you're just throwing your body to try and get something on the end of it. Just use the pace of the cross though.
Here's Backman. She gave it her all in the first half, and she's tired, Ramona Backman. She certainly hasn't been as effective. I think she's last 4 or 5 minutes she's looked quite jaded. Maybe her time is drawing nigh.
It's an opportunity for Bethany England, isn't it?
Yep.
And that's not what you want to see if you're a Manchester City defender.
What will she bring to the party, Sue?
She's been quality this season, so she's got that confidence. Again, a real willing runner. She will run in behind, technically very gifted. He's clearly got an eye for goal, being their top goal scorer. Or one of, if she isn't the top.
Had that learning season out on loan at Liverpool last season. Here's Kirby. A bit of a mistake by Horton in the air, pulls it back to Ingle, sensibly done. Cuthbert with the cross shot off the post and away. They've hit the woodwork twice in a matter of minutes. And it crept out of play. It's a goal kick, so unlucky there. It was offside anyway, perhaps, as the ball came out.
Oh, great bit of play from Chelsea. Steph Horton just misjudged the ball coming in, and Fran Kirby straight away anticipates it, is on the front foot. Her first touch just doesn't take it out of her feet to get past Jennifer Beattie. But as the ball comes into Sophie Ingle, clever play out to Erin Cuthbert, and yeah, again scrapes the post and comes out. Chelsea certainly on top.
Yeah, it wasn't on offside, the ball had just slipped away out of play. Here's Beattie. Been unlucky then. Stanway, Becky and Walsh. Scott round the corner, good ball. Willett. Comfortable save for Berger.
Ball cross there from Woolart. They've got herself into a decent position. Got to do better there.
And I had 2 golden rules from my grandma, Nana White. And she said to me, always take a packet of tissues for you in case you get the snuffles and the sniffles. Otherwise you'll get a little dewdrop dropping off the end of your nose, and I've ignored that advice. And earlier on the day, another piece of advice, she said, never sit on cold concrete. I ignored that as well. I might rue that decision. You got any tissues for us?
I need one myself.
Scott, back to Willett. Nikita Paris ran into Drew Spence, who brings it away. Oh, poor ball. Here's Demi Stokes. Walsh. Let's thread the eye of a needle. Chelsea getting their players back in good discipline fashion. Here's Stokes. And Walsh. Good balance about the run. Now the little chip ball to the far post. Stabbed down by Willett. Karen Carney was back in there defending. Working so hard here, Chelsea. Manchester City, is this the moment they have the breakthrough? That's better from them. Yeah, effort was well blocked in the end. Becky, a bit of a sledgehammer approach. Here's Steph Horton. Trying to take a deflection. It's going to be a corner kick.
Balance of play just keeps shifting. First of all, it's Chelsea having the opportunity, and then straight down the other end. Good bit of play from Manchester City to work an opening. And again, it's that player, Kira Walsh. Once she gets on the ball, you think something's going to happen. Steph Horton thinks, I've got the ability and the range to do this. I have a shot from distance. Does it take a deflection? I don't think it does.
Referee was very decisive. Blew early. Beattie's in there again. So is Horton. Let's come out wide to Stanway. Oh, it's a good run beyond Spence. Low cross. Berger's lost it. Gathers it the second time. Got a bit lucky there.
Great bit of play from Georgia Stanway. You know, Drew Spence thought she was going to cross it with the right foot. Came in on her left. Stumbled a little bit, Berger. She was lucky that she had the 2 centre-halves, like Millie Bright was around, just to protect her.
Interesting conversation going on just before that corner with the coach, whether or not Manchester City should throw everyone up for the corner from the back, and he said no. Steph Horton initially started the conversation, but she was allowed to go in there. But and then the coach sent 1 or 2 back. Nick Cushing will be called on the counter. Not this close to extra time. Milder now. Cuthbert. Kirby ahead, wanted it played into the space between Beattie and Horton, and the pass was delayed, and Spencer with the crossfield ball cut out by Willett. Looks for the run here of the substitute. Becky, the Canadian, played it back to Stanway, who's covered a lot of ground this afternoon. Beattie to Horton. And they get the cross in here now. Driven in low, and just deflects away. The goalkeeper's prevented it going out of play for a corner kick. Deflected off Anderson, I think it was a problem here.
Yeah, McManus seems to hurt herself just after she put the cross in.
This is concern for club and for country as well. Phil Neville is here. Maybe McManus has played a major role for him over the last 18 months.
Such a versatile player, isn't she? Can play centre-half, can play full-back. You always know what you're going to get with her. Real consistent performer.
Coming across to the Chelsea players have come across to get a cold isotonic drink. That's what you need on a day like this.
They're all right, they're running around. We could do with a cup of tea, I think.
Cup of tea I could do with a gallon of rum. 5 minutes to go. It's going to be okay. And Chelsea have made the change that we anticipated a while back. It is Batman, who has been quiet in the last 20 minutes, who's gone off. And England has come on. She is also on.
It's a real attacking substitution there from Chelsea. Sophie Ingle will just hold.
Drew Spence is the other Chelsea player who's gone off. We will play off England. With 18 goals, Bethany England to top score for Chelsea this season. In a competition with Frank Kirby to finish top gun at the club. Gee, such a talented player. Yeah, South Korean international there, all-time top scorer. She scored against Manchester City at this stage before in the cup. Scored in the final against Notts County, the first Wembley final. Up in 2016 when they were expected to win it, didn't. The drum beat goes on. Stanway's got a run on Mjelde, who's dropping back. Stokes is out wide, he's gone for goal this late on. Time to take a few chances. Under 3 minutes to go.
It's actually a really good run from Demi Stokes. Took a couple of players away from her. She went on that overlapping full-back run, which allowed Georgia Stanway to cut in and get the shot away. And we have seen her score from distance, but she couldn't quite connect with that one well.
Berger gets there, clears it away. As Becky closed down. Scott is in there, always in the thick of things for Manchester City, Jill Scott. Here's McManus, she seems okay now. Walsh gives it back to her. 2 minutes to go. Spoons it down the line and away and out of play. Now, please don't get me wrong, I love my football, always have done all my life, and Sue and I are very boring people actually. Wherever we go, we just talk about football and nothing else. Bore the pants off everyone, but please not an extra half an hour, not today. I can't ever remember as cold an April spring afternoon. The wind is vicious. Touch on by Bethany England. But I think both teams are going to settle for that extra time period. So both semi-finals, unless something happens dramatically in the next minute plus stoppage time, we'll go on to extra time today. And you know what Barnsley can do with penalty shootouts this season. She's already done it in the Continental Cup final. It'll come down to that. She's been the more assured of the goalkeepers, I think.
Definitely.
And that's important for her, with Phil Neville watching on earlier.
Karen Barnsley as well, she will have researched every single penalty taker, know exactly where they put it, and she'll have remembered it as well. She was always the one you wanted to have on your quiz team. Very intelligent young lady.
Oh, chance here for Chelsea. Kirby. Seen off on the edge of the penalty. Here's Willett. A mistake now could be so cruelly decisive. Up goes Beattie. Firm header away. That was decisive. Stanley's giving it straight to Cuthbert. And he's gone away to that left-hand side. Dangerous crossing. Horton was well positioned. Firmly away. Not that one though, and here's Bright. Cheers to the right-hand side. Technically gifted player. Cuthbert. Carney. Anderson is there in support if she wants her. Takes on McManus on the outside. Yeah, the England player did enough. Clearance high and spiralling. Ingles underneath that one. We're into stoppage time. Walsh away from Carney. Break on here for Manchester City. Willett. Paris. Jill Scott was ahead of it. Nikita Paris now to Jill Scott. To turn away. And still has possession, Paris. It's Demi Stokes on the outside of Bethany England. Decent cross back into the middle. Oh, that could go in! It is in! Oh, how cruel is that? Magdalena Eriksson has been her own goalkeeper. A minute and a half into stoppage time in an FA Cup semi-final. It is a cruel, cruel game sometimes, and that is one of the cruelest blows. A horrible mistake, a horrible mix-up, and Manchester City profit from it, and Manchester City have 1 foot at Wembley.
That's not how you want to see a game won. I thought it was going to be a moment of brilliance that was going to win this game, and unfortunately for Chelsea and for Eriksson, it's an error like that. Demi Stokes does well, gets on the outside of Bethany England. It's a good delivery in, but there's nobody around her. She needs, whether there was communication from Berger, I don't know. Just puts out a foot and completely wrong foots her goalkeeper.
Oh, that's an absolute shocker. Into the last 45 seconds of stoppage time we go. How cruel is that on Chelsea? Nailed it high into the box. Horton heads it down. Kirby, one last effort. Brilliant block by Jennifer Beattie. And now here's Paris. Blocked off there by Eriksson, whose afternoon has unravelled. She gets the yellow card. Nikita Paris winded, and a week after Manchester City's men made it to the FA Cup final with a narrow win over Brighton and Hove Albion, it looks as if Manchester City's women will follow, but penalty area strewn with bodies.
Yeah, this is good play from Nikita Paris. Needs to take the pressure off her team, knocks it one way, goes the other. Looks like Steph Horton and Jennifer Beattie are down.
She's had a strong game, Jennifer Beattie.
She has, both of them too, both Steph and Jen Beattie. This is the goal again. Again, a good delivery from Demi Stokes. Nobody in there, no Manchester City player around her. You know, she's got time to turn. She is stretching for it, but it's an awful error.
Didn't get a shout from a goalkeeper at all, though.
That's what we're saying. There definitely got some communication from a goalkeeper. Whether she shouted or not, I don't know.
I don't think there was any communication there at all.
Because she's thinking there's players in and around her, and there's nobody. You just don't want a game to be won like that.
Well, that takes me back to the World Cup semi-final. England against Japan, and that's what it meant to Nick Cushing, a year on from defeat at this stage to Chelsea, when his team didn't really turn up. A rueful look by the Swedish international. Beattie is okay. Horton is still down.
It's great defending from them too, though, where they both threw the body in the way to block the shot, and I think they ended up colliding with each other.
Double winners last season, Chelsea. They've got the Champions League semi-final away at Lyon the first leg in a week's time. Manchester City Continental Cup winners, still in the title race, although it's unlikely to go their way. And now heading for the FA Cup final. We've had 5 minutes now of stoppage time. There will be extra, of course, because of this injury, and this is deeply concerning, the fact that the England captain has stayed down so long. Way to come. The wind is coming from above their heads, by the way, over to this side of the ground. The man in shorts there, I think. Goodness me. I'll have a pint of whatever he's been having. Yeah, this is a wrist injury or a lower arm. Now this is really concerning. The fact that she's allowed to carry on would suggest that it's an injury that's deadened the pain. If there was any real risk, they'd have taken her off. They're going to take her off. They're going to take Nikita Paris off and bring Gemma Bonner on. So that must mean then that Steph Horton is okay. Defender for an attacker, conservative move. Another 30 seconds added on. Horton takes a free kick and it zips on through. Seconds remain though. Manchester City taking their time. She's in real pain, Steph Horton. Stanway will keep it in that corner. It's a Chelsea throw. Chasing the game here now, Chelsea. Twice they hit the woodwork in this second half. They've had the game's best chances, I think. It was the one in the first half when the goalkeeper was drawn and Nikita Paris pushed it wide, but apart from that, Chelsea will believe they had the better opportunity, especially in this second half. Luck not on their side at either end. Here's Smielda, has to go long now. Has to go up to Millie Bright. Bonner was on her shoulder. Scott gets it away. Here's Chi. That is very rudimentary. Horton glanced it back. Never beaten Chelsea in the FA Cup until this moment. And the Manchester City coach Nick Cushing will be taking his side to Wembley to the FA Cup final, just as Pep Guardiola will with the Manchester City men. But it was so very, very cruel deep in stoppage time when the cheerful Magdalena Eriksson turned it beyond her own goalkeeper into that net, celebrating revenge for the defeat this time last year. Nick Cushing's team win it, but Sue so very cruel on Chelsea.
Oh, and football is so cruel sometimes, and I just feel for her. I'm watching her, she's so upset, and she's had a very good game up until that, and you want the game to be won with a moment of brilliance, not with an error like that. Chelsea had their opportunities in that second half. They could have gone and won the game, but Manchester City managed to I suppose, hold their own through that, and then when they got the opportunity, good delivery from Demi Stokes, and just an error has won them the game.
Tears for Chelsea, concerns for the Manchester City and England captain Steph Houghton, who picked up an injury late on to that wrist. We'll try and find out more about that, but it's Cushing and Manchester City who go to Wembley in the FA Cup final, courtesy of an own goal heartache for Chelsea. They win it by 1-0.
Wow, drama here at the Academy Stadium. Rachel, it is, as we heard Jonathan say there, it's the cruelest of fashions, isn't it, to lose this for Chelsea?
It really is. There was not a lot between these two teams. Both had chances in the first and the second half, but it was mainly Chelsea in the second half, and it was a terrible, moment of indecision, maybe lack of communication in the Chelsea defence that ultimately gave City the win and the journey, the passage to Wembley.
Uncharacteristic of Magdalena Eriksson, isn't it, Casey? But I mean, these things happen.
They do. It's really cruel. I have to say, there was no one near her. So I have to question whether there was any communication at all from the goalkeeper, whether she checked her shoulder at all. If she lets it goes out for a goal kick. There was no need for her to make the first contact at all, and it is the worst way to lose.
Team selection there, was that something that you can question on of Emma Hayes for going with Berger?
It's always easy to speak about team selection after a game and question those. Well, you've got G sitting on the bench. Could she have brought her on earlier? We saw her sitting there, and I think Emma Hayes was looking to make changes, and I think if she did earlier, there was a potential where Chelsea were on top, and then maybe if G enters the play, she creates things, makes things happen, and Chelsea could go on and capitalise on that. But overall, I don't think both teams really brought their best game today. I think both teams were nervy, they were on edge, and I think they were more worried about losing the game than actually going to win it in the end.
Yeah, it was a fascinating game, wasn't it? It was the momentum shifted the whole way through. Let's hear from Jill Scott now, get some reaction there. She's with Joe Curry.
Well, Jill, talk me through your emotions. How nuts was the end of that match?
Yeah, no, it was crazy. Obviously, it's a cruel way for the game to end. Obviously ecstatic that we'll get another opportunity to go to Wembley, because it is one of the best days ever to play in a FA Cup final. But yeah, I think the game was pretty even on a whole, so it is a cruel ending.
What went through your mind when you saw that goal go in so late on?
I think I just obviously was so happy that was scored. I think everybody thought the game was going to extra time. I think I even heard the referee say it at one point at the end. So yeah, I thought we were just destined for extra time, but obviously very happy to get the win.
You touched on it before, but back to Wembley, what does that mean to you and the rest of the team?
No, it's a pinnacle of your career going to Wembley. I think that's where everybody wants to play football, and I know the times in which I haven't been there, which has definitely been more times than I have been there. It's really hard watching it on TV, so I'm just glad that we won't have to watch this one on TV.
And West Ham, how do you fancy your chances against them?
You know what, I didn't even know it was West Ham. Obviously, very organised team. Matt Beard's done really well with them this season, so I heard a few people say that this was the final today, but I know that FA Cup final is going to be even harder because of the whole occasion. So yeah, just happy to get the win.
Well done. We'll let you go join your teammates.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, we're joined by a very happy man indeed, Nick Cushing, the Manchester City manager. Bit crazy, but you'll take that win any day, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think, if you look at past games, us and Chelsea, we deserved the last-minute winner because we lost in 2015 and 2014 and 2015 FA Cup semi-finals to last-minute winners. Ji So-yun scored twice, so we were owed one.
Was this about exercising a few demons, do you think? Finally getting past Chelsea in an FA Cup game?
I think for us, listen, I said before the game, I'm proud of this team and I'm proud of everyone because this is the 6th consecutive season now that come April, we're at the table for everything. All right, last year didn't go the way that we wanted it to go. But this year, the two things before the game that were on offer, Champions League and Continental Cup, we'd won. And we knew that, the league is out of our control. We know that we might have to go to Arsenal and watch them lift the trophy. And the only way that for us we're going to be able to take that is if we win the FA Cup the week before.
But the treble is still on. Don't look at Alex when you say this. I mean, you say it's out of your hands.
Oh no! Listen, listen. We were Arsenal last year. We were top of the league, and we'd been in the. We know it can happen. Everton and Brighton are tough teams, so it's Arsenal's to lose. We're going to just keep winning. And like I say, I read the other day that I'm underachieving in this job on social media, and I mean, we can go all the way to the end of the season with the double now and undefeated, and we still might not win a league.
Never trust what you see on social media, Nick. That is the lesson for life. Talk me through this game. It was a bit of a cagey affair in that first half. Momentum really shifting one way and the other.
It always is. I mean, I said before the game as well, it's gone from a rivalry just to a mutual respect of every game we have are so close and they ebb and flow, and this was no different. And I thought it was going to be the team that took their chances. We didn't really create any clear chances, and Chelsea didn't take their chances, the two that they had. So, you know, we're just pleased to be in the final.
Yeah, and was that the difference? Because Chelsea, I suppose, did have the best of them in that second half.
Yeah, you know, Emma changed the system a little bit there and almost matched up what we do, and Carney caused us a few problems getting in between and overloading the middle of the midfield. But I thought at times our build-up was really good. I thought at times we played against their high press really well and got into positions, but we just didn't create any clear-cut opportunities. But for the team, the one thing I think I'm really proud of this year is every time we look to be on the rack, we stay in the game and we show a real toughness, and that wins your games and wins your trophies.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the grit, isn't it? Let's take a look at the goal, though. Magdalena, uncharacteristic from her, as we were saying, but what was your reaction when this happened?
Oh, it's just last minute, isn't it? It's last minute. You look at the clock. I mean, it's unfortunate for the Chelsea player and for the goalkeeper. I mean, you know, these things happen, but the clock says 90 minutes, and if you score in 90 minutes in an FA Cup semi-final, you've got a great chance of getting to the final. So sometimes you just lose it, and I lost it on that one because I'm so proud of this team, and I've got so much belief that I want them to continue winning.
We've had a debate about whether Katrin Berger should have started. We were wondering who was going to start for you in goal. Was it always a case that a big game like this, Karen Bardsley would come in?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the way that I manage with the staff is the goalkeeping coach chooses the goalkeeper, and he'd already decided pre-international break that Ellie would go in against Liverpool, but KB would play in the FA Cup final. So I trust my goalkeeping coach. I trust that he works with them every week, and he knows and feels which keeper is right. And you know what? We've got two excellent goalkeepers here, so I'm content with whichever one plays.
Nick, what did you say to your team in the huddle at the end? Because for me, when you look at the earlier game with West Ham and the celebrations after to reaching a final, it seemed like you guys in that huddle, it's more of a relief that you've got over the line and you are going to Wembley.
No, not so much a relief. It's just not over, is it? Yeah, you haven't won anything here. I mean, I've been in finals and lost. That Continental Cup final last year, and yeah, we've achieved something here. But I just think, you know, the one thing I'm proud of is with me and with the team, there's an expectation. I put a real high demand on them, and every time you add players to the team, and you've seen how our team has evolved over the years, those players that we had, Gemma Bonner, Caroline Weir, they haven't competed for trophies. Lauren Hemp from Bristol, Claire Emsley, you know, we can keep going. They haven't consistently competed for trophies, and then you put a real high demand on them and they produce, and I'm proud of that because the players that we had for next season will come in, we'll put a demand on them and they will help us contribute to winning trophies. And we just want to run a winning football team here. Let's just not get carried away with anything, and when we win, enjoy the trophies, but you know what, we have to move on. And I'm not trying to play it down, it's look at our season last year. It can end like that.
Well, you know what? You've got everything to celebrate today. You're on your way to Wembley. Congratulations, Nick. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you.
And go and enjoy yourself with your team. Thanks for joining us here. But there is obviously someone who was very disappointed today. That is the Chelsea manager, Emma Hayes. She's now with Joe Curry.
Well, Emma, there can't be many more crueler ways to lose a semi-final than that. How do you sum it up?
I thought we controlled the game. I thought we were confident throughout. I thought we didn't get out of second gear most of the time. So to lose that way for a player who's been outstanding this year, I'm just gutted for her. But you know, that's the way it goes sometimes in football, and I think they just have to make sure we stick together as a team because it's a cruel way to end the game.
I was going to ask, Eriksson looked absolutely distraught, understandably, after the goal and after the game. What have you said to her?
Oh, well, what can you say to a player in that moment other than, you know, there's a million games she has kept us in this year, and I will remind her of how wonderful she's been all season.
Obviously, you've got other semi-finals coming up, Champions League. Any worries about a knock-on effect from this on that? No, different competition. I think, as you see from this game, we've got beaten by a cruel own goal, and I thought we looked Champions League level, and
Perhaps that lack of goals for us sometimes has been the story of our season.
Any lessons learned today?
No, none.
Well done.
Emma Hayes, just as we expected to be, as honest as ever. I suppose if you're her, I mean, Nick said it as well, they did have the better chances in that second half, didn't they, Rachel?
They did, and Emma Hayes and her team know that and will kick themselves for not making it count, and know that come Champions League, headers like this from Fran Kirby, you've got to make it count because they're few and far between. It's a brilliant delivery, and the way that he runs across and gets onto that, it should be in the back of the net, simple as that.
On the issue of Fran, she missed the England games over the international break. Was she fit enough? Was she in the right frame of mind for this game, do you think, Katie?
Yeah, I think she actually contributed well today. I thought she linked well, she dropped in deep, she played in behind. But they just weren't clinical. You know, obviously this goes right across the line and comes out, and that was the key differences today. But then I say that Nikita Paris has a good chance in the first half as well. So it was always going to be a moment of individual brilliance, and unfortunately, or a mistake, and it was a mistake that cost them today.
Do you know what me and Casey were actually discussing in the game? We thought it was uncharacteristic of some players. You've got the likes of Fran Kirby, Ramona Bachmann. Normally we see them when they're one-on-one. They love those situations. They're going to get at their defender, make something happen. But today it was all a bit too cautious. You see Fran Kirby in those areas, then coming back out and looking for a pass instead of maybe sometimes trying to get a shot off earlier. Ramona Bachmann, you know, we've known her for our international career and playing career. She loves to get the ball and dribble at players, and we didn't see that from them today.
No, it was very, you know, it was especially, there was an instant in the second half. Ramona Bachmann faced up Jennifer B inside the 18-yard box with no intent to take her on. Now, we see them sort of players being positive all the time, and I thought that was the mindset from both teams. Not an intent to commit numbers forward. It was like both teams didn't want to lose rather than win the game.
There needs to be a completely different mindset for Chelsea going in, and I hope it doesn't have a knock-on effect because they are, you know, the last English team in this competition and our highest hopes.
Do you know what the interesting thing also, Emma Hayes said at the start of the game that she wasn't thinking about Champions League and it's just about today. But then actually throughout Emma Hayes' career and how she sets the team out, it's always on the front foot, attacking. So to me, I don't buy that, having to see that performance today and how they set out in a rigid 4-4-2 system and really defending more than looking to be on the attack, because that is how they're going to have to play against a very strong Lyon side.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we know who they're going to face in that final in May. It is West Ham. That was the earlier game. Reading and West Ham in that game that was 1-1. Let's take a look at the key moments from that semi-final. Reading so unlucky, surely not to get a penalty. As I said, we were watching this in the green room.
There was definitely,
surely that was a penalty.
Definitely. They got one, obviously, for the handball. That is a penalty. And there was another instance as well where Lauren Bruton got fouled. So there was 2 penalties they were denied. And obviously, you know, Farrell will look at this and go, she should have finished it. So it was a game of missed opportunities for Reading. And you know,
so yeah, and all of that was in normal time. This is, it's painful, isn't it? One of 3 missed penalties this for Reading, having not sewn up the game in normal time.
I think to sum it up, it was not their day today. Yeah. You know, like you said, 2 goals, penalties that should have been given, 1 given and missed, another chance, as you said, from Farrah Williams. But it all comes down to West Ham, when it needed the composure right at the very end, have churned out a result, and they are going to Wembley. What a feeling that must be.
I feel like that's the story of the semi-finals today. Missed opportunities in both the matches. It's there to be won, and people wasn't taking their chances.
Yeah, and I mean, it is an amazing semi-final in the sense that we don't really know what to expect, do we, Casey?
No, I think, listen, we can't get away from the fact Manchester City will go into this game as clear favourites. But having said that, you know, Matt Beard will organise his team, you know, do his research. He'll know that, you know, they've come here in the league and got beat 7-1. So they won't want to go to an FA Cup final and have that same result. So, you know, he'll organise his team, probably play on the counter a little bit. We know Man City will dominate possession, but it's an FA Cup final. Anything can happen.
He's got nothing else to play for this season. He can really gear everything, every last game, towards preparing for the final against Manchester City. Obviously, Manchester City is still chasing down the league, and so they do have kind of things to plan and prepare for ahead of that. So Matt Beard does have that in his favour. His team is still gelling together, still learning how to play with each other. So being able to kind of practice a formation that I expect him to do in his last sort of league games could have an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very interesting times. And okay, more live sport coming up on the BBC. We have the Masters for you, the conclusion of that coming up on BBC Two. That's with Ailey Barber and the team in Augusta. Make sure you join then. Okay. What a game then here we've had at Manchester City. Football can be cruel. It was on Chelsea. It is Manchester City who have booked their place in the FA Cup final in May. They will be playing West Ham. What a game we had. That will be live here on BBC One as well. It's been a pleasure to have your company, ladies. Rachel, Casey, Alex. Been a pleasure to have your company at home. We hope you'll join us for more FA Cup action here on the BBC in May. Bye-bye for now.